Hi, Camilo.
Hi, Lee. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Camilo, the President of the United States is warning us that democracy itself may be at risk right now. Now, you have been to countries where democracy did find itself failing to dictators and death squads and disappearances and drug cartels. You've been part of the investigations into what happened. Are we really in that kind of risk? Can that sort of thing happen here?
I think it's striking, how much convergence there is between what's unfolding. Of course, the elections are coming up. We'll know soon. But the bottom line is, I think a lot of the same factors are in play in the U.S. that I've seen on the ground. I lived in Mexico for over 20 years. Part of my family still lives there. I'm deeply tied to what happens there. Also, Colombia, which went through, a very bloody war for 60 years, et cetera. So I would say, ironically, there are more signs of hope on the ground in those two contexts, for example, Mexico and Colombia now, sadly, than the US, perhaps. I think we're really in trouble.
That's really much more disturbing an answer than I was hoping for. So tell me then, what is it we should be watching out for, and where is the hope for us?
I think what's striking is that, and this is why, for me, Witness is such an important source of hope and inspiration. The work of Witness at the Border and the work I'm currently doing at the National Lawyers Guild is that there's still people, throughout the country, like those two organizations and the now almost, dozens of partners that we've been able to draw to this initiative, who are standing up and willing to stand up. And I think that's been especially difficult, ironically, during the Biden presidency, which of course was a positive step compared to the predecessor. And, in several substantive ways meant that we sort of held the line, let's say, in defense of democracy and defense of human rights. But unfortunately, that has not, in general, included the border and immigration policy. I think immigration policy and the border have sadly been among the big exceptions, the places where justice has not yet been done, where there's not yet accountability, where separated families are still fighting for relief and reparations. And sadly, the Biden administration is standing in the way of that. Plus, everything else related now to the Venezuelans and what's actually going on at the border in terms of who gets in and under what conditions.
So we're in trouble, maybe. It's not hopeless, maybe. We all have a role to do.
Absolutely.
A few last thoughts before we go.
Yes, no, absolutely. I think, first we have to be accurate, real, grounded about what we confront, what the challenges are, and the way in which, again, even moments of hope, like the current presidency, unfortunately continue to be trapped in some of the same old tropes and frameworks that make the border a place where people die seeking safety, seeking protection, against the most fundamental principles of law and of ethics and morality. And, we know there are a lot of faith-based groups that continue to fight for something else, for another vision. We're trying to join with them through the journey for justice. So there's tremendous hope if you look at what's actually being done on the ground. And for example, in New York and Chicago, in Martha's Vineyard, the way in which people have been received, above and beyond what governments do, but what the society is doing, what average folks are doing to welcome people with an embrace and with a smile and with some help, that's very hopeful. And also the kind of response we've gotten to the journey for justice, I think that is very heartening. So, I'm not looking so much at the election results. And either way, whatever happens, it's about what people are actually doing in their home communities and the way in which they're joining with other communities to defend human rights and to defend democracy and the principles that this country has always sought to live by.
Thanks, Camilo. We'll be back in touch.
Thank you so much, Lee.